You're the reason I went out, Brandon.
I put a gun to your head. I put a gun to your head and forced you to go.
Like,
No, bitch. Now we heard you call me bitch.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Hey, we're going to be talking to you guys about Married at First Sight. We're going to talk to you about Brandon and Taylor first of all. New to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for the notification of the uploads, baby. And for those of you who are returnees, Mineral Gang, baby. Mineral Gang. Listen, Mineral Gang, baby. I hope your hoodie's keeping you warm in quarantine, baby. Alright, let's get into the video without wasting much time. Are you mad? You leave a gege. Let's get into it. So, Brandon and Taylor business. It's mad. I don't know what's going on. It's mad. So we get this opening scene where Brandon's talking to the camera, talking about how obviously...
And I got a text message from her the following morning, this morning, and she basically apologized. She said she ended up falling asleep in this hotel.
Taylor said she was going to go out for a few minutes, half an hour, go with some friends and come back. What happens is she ended up staying in a hotel, okay, overnight, okay, with some friends, and then texted him in the morning saying she fell asleep. Now, let me be very frank. This opening scene already, let me be very frank. If my partner told me they'll be out for half an hour, I'm just going to keep it at this level. If my partner told me I'll be out for half an hour, then when, obviously with a friend, or some friends who I don't know either as well, because the friends have not been obviously, I guess, made out to him. Cool. Then the person ends up falling asleep at the place. Now, I've always said this. The problem necessarily isn't usually that the friend is the same sex. That's not why the thing gets sticky. It always gets sticky when we think, or there is, of opposite sex. Because there's a chance that they could be moving mad. Yeah? Betrayal of the heart. Yeah? But in this instance, there is a lot of problem here because, you know, communication is vital. Once you're in a relationship, and I agree with Brandon here, I don't like some of his tactics in the early still, but I've got to agree with him here. You cannot act like you're single. Now, we've already seen the video on Instagram, the single video on Instagram. He's already accused her of the men calling at 3 o'clock. And now this, I'm sorry. I am very sorry. I said it from when I said about the last episode where they were talking to Dr. Pepper, and I said to you, I think she's lying about the men calling at 3 o'clock. I think she's covering it up. I believe there's some people calling at 3 o'clock. Just the way that she's behaving. Do you get me? And now this, you pull this stunt and try to cover it. Okay? And cover it. Listen, regardless of why someone went to DC, because obviously later on get told what the argument is. Later on the argument is that they went to DC, etc, etc. She went to see friends. He wasn't happy about that. Irrespective of his feelings towards her going to see her friends. That's not the problem. The problem is that when you went, you didn't communicate that you're going to be staying out longer.
Never discussed who this friend is, if it was a male or female, but I do want to address it at some point during the retreat because I need some answers. It just...
Now, you didn't fall asleep. I'm confused. You were going out for half an hour and you fell asleep the whole night and then text me in the morning. How is that possible? How is that possible? So we don't get told the timescales. Maybe it was 12 o'clock, you fell asleep, text me at 4 or 5, you know what I'm saying? But either way, when you were going to fall asleep, because listen, you don't just fall asleep, you start feeling tired, you should have said, listen, babe, I'm feeling kind of tired, you know, I'm just going to stay. And even then, it would have been a problem anyway, let's be honest. It would have been a problem. Because for Brandon, he doesn't know the friends, etc. If I knew the friend, you know, and I'm like, okay, she's tired, just stay where you are, do you know what I mean? It's not worth the risk of you, da da da. Do you know what I'm saying? Cool. So for me, obviously, you know, I just see it as that was disrespect on her part. And again, she does what she does best, which is that she refuses to acknowledge her behavior. And I think this is very scary because I spoke about Brandon's behavior, which we're going to talk about later on as well in this episode, which is out of order. But her behavior too shows me the discontent and showing us as well how, you know, this living in this fantasy as if what you do is correct, and when you're being challenged, the person's mad for challenging you. I'm sorry, Taylor, but this is unacceptable behavior. Unacceptable, and it's unbecoming of somebody who wants to be in a relationship, who quote unquote keeps saying, I want to be in a relationship. You understand? who quote unquote keeps talking about someone else's behavior, but your behavior is unacceptable. And we see, and the funny thing also is that she never, this is the second time, when she's explaining it to the girls with Jessica and Katie, when she gets there, she never explains why Brandon was so pissed off.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know if, like, what's going on with him. Who knows? I mean, Brandon doesn't really take any initiative, really.
And we're going to come back, we're going to come to this and deal with this, the psychological stuff. She never explains that. Do you get me? She never explains to the girls, oh, look, guys, you know that I was at someone's house all night and I didn't text him until the morning. She doesn't say that. So again, you've missed out key parts of the situation, just like you did with the Instagram posting. I'm sorry, if any of my friends ever told me it was acceptable that I made an Instagram post whilst being with a girl saying how great is, there's no females out there, you know, for a man, what, I expect them to chastise me. Good friends chastise. Bad friends, bad company corrupts good morale. You understand? So good friends would have told you. Evidently, she doesn't have good friends because they're yes man. Do you understand? But again, I want to give them a benefit of the doubt because they are on TV and potentially maybe they told them to say yes even though they didn't agree. You know? Okay, let's get into some cycle stuff. So in the car when they were driving, there was obviously clearly some tension that was going on between Taylor and Brandon. Now Brandon obviously was carrying the energy from the night before because of the fact that, he felt like she had done him dirty. Now I'm going to draw a parallel before I go into the psychology part. The parallel here again is that Brandon again hasn't addressed the issue and is holding the energy. Just like with the video, Instagram, unlike the difference is that obviously eventually he addressed it, but just like the video, just like in Panama, again when he gets angry, and I know this behavior, it's the passive aggressiveness, it's the silence, it's the I'm not talking to you behavior, but we have to be in each other's vicinity. And listen, I know this behavior. I've done it before. It is it comes from a place of feeling that the person should know what you're thinking. They should know that I'm hurt. They should know, but how are they supposed to know? Like without you communicating it. Now we can see, and don't get it twisted. Obviously, she probably does know, but you've got to make that clear so that you are in the clear. When you're dealing with relationships, it's important to communicate and accentuate. And bring up to the foreground rather than letting it stay in the background that this is the issue. That's what a mature individual, an adult, does, because they understand that communication is a two-way process, and I've got to be able to understand your point of view. So in order to do that, I need to bring up the situation. So now they're in the car, and Brandon's not talking; he's on his phone. Okay, so he's already cutting off a lot of communication by being on his phone and just being invested in his phone. And remember the energy's off.
It would be a great idea for me to go to sleep. There we go.
Now Taylor, and this is one thing I don't like, Taylor knows that he's pissed off about the night before, but she expects him to also exfoliate, I should bring out the information directly to her before she addresses it. This is poor behavior, and this is very poor relationship behavior, in a sense of, I understand that yes, he should communicate, he should talk about it, but you also know exactly what you've done. If you know what you've done and you feel like that you've done someone wrong and dirty, you come to them and say, listen, look, my bad, I did something wrong here. I should have communicated the night before. If they didn't still give you the silent treatment, then you have just cause to say why you behaving the way you behaving. I've come to you and explained to you this is what happened, and I'm sorry for this. But Taylor hasn't done that. She too has this arrogance, this pride, the same way that he has the pride and arrogance to pretend as if you don't know what's going on, and then expect him to come up to you with the information when you know exactly why he's annoyed. This isn't normal behavior. Do you know what I mean? From both people, it's not normal behavior. Like, I'm scared of both of you got a screw loose kind of thing. I'm not saying that in a rude way. I'm just saying that it's like that kind of, one's either you're acting or you know what I'm saying, you're doing a lot for the cameras, or maybe there's something generally, some impairment there. Do you know what I mean? Or you just generally being an arse just for the TV cameras. That could be as well. I don't know. So yeah, when Brandon did that, we saw obviously, Taylor, if you watch her, she just raises her eyebrows and then makes her eyes bigger. And because obviously the fact that they were going to have a long car journey, and he wasn't talking, Added to that, he also had then shades on as well. You know how I feel about shades in enclosed spaces. Why is it I've got shades when I'm talking to you in an enclosed space? I'm talking to you one-to-one and you got shades on. Why? The whole point of intimacy, or intimacy, that you want to call it that, and personal relationship and vulnerability and friendship, is that your eyes are giving me an indication that you are invested, and you are giving me solid eye contact to tell me that you're interested in a conversation. That's what friends often do. Now, when you put the shades on, what it does is it takes away that aspect of your contact with me. I now have to assume that you are listening and engaged in a conversation. But when you are trying to be engaged and trying to be intimate with that conversation, you don't put shades on. You don't put shades when you're talking to the Queen. You know what I'm saying? Why are you putting shades when you're talking to me? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, your value and your priority in that. I'm not saying that every time that you put in shades it's like that, but I'm just saying for a psychological point of view, when we're trying to have a dusty and dazzy, you know what I'm saying? Imagine you're watching my camera work I'm doing right now, and I just turn myself to the side and I talk to the wall instead of talking to you. Now, how uncomfortable does that get? It's like, was he paying attention to us? Is he paying attention to the thing that he's doing? So the eye contact is vital. So when shades are on, it's a problem. You know, and then obviously when he started laying back and just kind of, you know, just kind of relaxing, reclining in a chair, you know, she just looked unimpressed. And I understand that, because obviously they should be having a conversation in the car. It's a long journey. She's driving again. Yeah, because sometimes she's always driving. I don't know if she enjoys driving or what, but yeah, it seems that she's always one that's driving when these situations. And obviously in the cutscene, Taylor says, obviously, I hope it's not about, you know, him being upset from the night before because he hasn't said anything. And again, I'm just going to allude, I won't say too much. That is poor behaviour. You know, you should be, if your partner, you see them down and you know that, and you potentially know the reason why, you should be comforting them. You should be trying to say something to them. You should be trying to, you know, indulge in them and try to find out what's bothering them, because you want to see them happy. But when you don't want to see them happy, okay, cool, do what you did. It seems like you're still punishing him for Panama, if that's what you can say. And then obviously later on when they are when they come into the house, it's interesting as well because you know, the way they sit down is really odd. So when
Great. Yeah.
Right.
So we're not all too late. Nice.
No. Yeah, there's drinks inside. And then at some point, I think we have to make time.
They come into the thing, Brandon is far removed from the rest of the group. Because of Panama, because of other things as well. He's actually alienated himself, and actually he's made himself a condiment enemy. Taylor's moving mad, but the problem with Taylor is that she hasn't moved mad in the group setting. When you move mad in the group setting, you cause yourself to have an image in front of everybody else, and that now any negative press, they can see it being in you. Oh, you got angry one time, you start shouting and hollering and cussing. Now we know, okay, when she says, oh, he can be abusive behind doors, we're going to believe it. Because you've caused us to have a reputation and an image of you due to your behavior in public spaces. And so when they sit down, when they get even there, he fails to hug, he hugs Katie because she's close, but fails to go round the table to hug Jessica. Now, I don't know if he heard about the comment from Jessica concerning him and Zach. I don't know. I don't know if they just don't really like each other, but he never went round. He sat down and you know, he made a face about the fact that Jessica said, you know, we're all going to be making tacos and we're all going to help me. Why would that cause you to feel a certain way, Brandon? Why would that cause you to move mad? Why would that cause you to have to make a face in regards to that? I'm so confused by that. What does that mean? Why are you anti? And that shows again that there's a bigger problem than just Taylor being the issue.
You're going to help me?
Oh, okay. I'm down to help.
Because it seems like you're taking issue with everybody. Even his friend, Michael, later on, like, had to come and speak to him in a car to get him out of the car about the situation. And then finally he budged and gave in. But you see, for me, I just see that behavior and I'm saying there may be something, you know, psychological that we need to look into, fam. Because that's not normal behavior, bruv. You understand? And just to add to that as well, I think a lot of the reasons why Brandon's particular behavior is dangerous is because it spills over. So unlike Taylor, when she's angry or punishing Brandon or not treating him right or whatever, her behavior stays within the context of a relationship. Brandon's spills over without fail. Every single time, his behavior is public. And so that is a big issue. And that actually, like, again, stems to saying that there was probably a larger issue at hand that we're not addressing at the moment that we need to look into in terms of behavioral problems. Because for you to take your energy from the in relationship to outward, look, don't get twisted, we all make a mistake. He apologized for Panama, etc., etc. But, you know, it's the way that he was going on in Panama. You know, telling everyone to F off, like, leave me alone, da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, it's Taylor that, Taylor this. That behavior just let us know that, bro, you... And then obviously now, as all the taco situation, it's like, bro, why are you being vexed about tacos? Like, bro, she's only asking you to help. And you're making a face like, it's beyond me. You know what I mean? And then he exits the table early. So then now it looks like you've got a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? No matter how polite you said, obviously, ladies, do excuse me. When you behave in a certain way, it comes to light and to fruition, how you truly feel. You can't mask it with manners. You understand? Because it's like an abusive boyfriend. He may show everybody else he's got great mannerisms, but eventually it starts to show itself in public. You know what I'm saying? The true nature of the individual. Because how you truly think becomes behavior. And then obviously later on amongst the crew, the guys as well, it's a big issue actually. When they everyone else was kind of like making food and everything, they sat down, they were going to try and have some tequila and some shots, etc., etc. Brandon comes in, you know, after talking to obviously Michael, explaining his position with the Taylor situation. When he sits down, the issue here is that something that Taylor does, which I don't like.
I'll grab you a beer.
I will have a sip of wine that I'm about to go get myself. Thank you.
All right. Well,
sorry to be a party pooper, but you know I have to work all day tomorrow.
The guy has said he's not gonna have tequila, he's not gonna have shots, and then she's really pushy about it. She's really like trying to, you know, force the narrative, like, come on, have a shot, have a drink, you know, and then, you know, then goes into almost belittling him for not having a drink. And that's a very dangerous line to go for. Someone who does that, who pushes someone's buttons to that point, it's toxic. Like, he said no more than once. Like, no, what the person said, he's not interested, he's not involved. Do you understand? So that was a bit of a mad one. And then added to that, and to top it off as well, the public kind of disrespect that she showed towards him was actually when she started waving her hand. And when he said obviously he doesn't want it, she's like, oh, go, whatever, that. And that is very dismissive. Not only that, it's rude. And then obviously doing that in public as well is actually embarrassing. So now, obviously, I've seen Brandon's baby, which is embarrassing, but now I'm seeing yours, Taylor. You understand? You're starting to show your tail now. You know, because it was a disrespectful move to make. Because the guy has said no to the tequila. Like, if this was reversed, this would have been so dangerous. And we're going to talk about Taylor's behavior later on as well, in terms of being very aggressive, which I didn't like as well. And then actually a second time as well, actually, Taylor actually waves a hand at him again when Brandon and Michael actually leave the table together, which is really obviously these two, obviously, you know, they are two peas in a pod. You know, they're both obviously, you know, in similar positions, and they both have a similar temperament, in the sense of one's a liar, cold-blooded liar, and the other one is just destructive with his behavior. You know, it's uninviting. So both of them have their issues, which they find commonality in each other, and in the fact that people don't understand them. Now, listen, all of us go through situations where people don't understand us all the time. Don't get it twisted. But when you're a liar, and then you yourself also are somebody who, you know, speaks out of turn, is rude, ignores people, etc., etc., I don't know what you expect. You know what I'm saying? We haven't misunderstood you. We've understood you loud and clear. You want us to leave you alone. We've understood it. Do you understand? That's it. And then obviously later on, which I think is a very key scene, in the garden, when Brandon is talking, when Brandon's on his phone or whether he's sitting on the couch, whatever, and Taylor comes and sits on him.
Just about you with you if you're sitting out here. I mean, he came here to spend time with you, so.
I find this very, very annoying. The reason why I find this annoying is because she knows exactly that he's not happy. And she's still trying to drive buttons. Yeah? She's still trying to trigger him. At this point, it's triggering. Yeah? It's no longer you trying to be nice. You are triggering the individual. The person said to you already, the person's already stressed already. You wanted the person to come and find you. They're not responding to you now. This wasn't a chance for you to sit on him. This should have been a time to put up a chair and say, listen, Brandon, what's going on? Let's talk. Yeah? All that lying on him, coming to you know he's stressed. You were insulting him at the table, Black. You understand? You know he's stressed. You know he's not involved at this moment and this time. Do you get me? So this ain't the time to do it. Like, when she did it first in Panama, I was on her side because what he did was there's no need for it. Now we're seeing this position here where there's just no need. Like, go and sit on the chair and talk to him face to face. Don't come and lie on him, and he's not responding either to you. So at that point, she eventually obviously gives up and then comes to lie on the chair to talk in it. I think a lot of this is forced. I think a lot of this is, when he said about she's an actor and she's active for cameras, I have to agree with him. And I'll show you a clip when I say that I believe she's acting. When Brandon begins to explain his situation and his point of view about the situation involving Washington and dealing with the situation where she fell asleep at the hotel, etc., etc. As he begins to talk, she actually cuts him off.
Told me that you wanted to spend time with me and you wanted to do things.
No.
but yet
No. I told you I wanted to go home and go to sleep.
Pow. This shows me a certain level of disrespect. This shows me also as well that she's unwilling to give him space to talk. And actually, for me, this actually shows me that she knows what she's doing.
I wanted
But if you wanted to hang out with me so
said
bad,
that,
why
first of all, I
didn't you?
never contacted my friends.
100%. That her behaviors are not. They're not unconscious. They're very conscious in what she's doing. The sleeping at someone's house, the video you did with Instagram. These are all purposeful behaviors that you've done. And now he's coming to explain. And remember, he kept it real calm. Let me be very honest with you. He kept it so calm. So calm, trying to explain, hey, Taylor, this is what I feel. And then she cut him off. Yeah? And not only did she cut him off, she actually stood up. Dismissing his point, stood up and put her hands up in his face. I was like, are you dumb? Who are you?
Out, Brandon. I said.
I put a gun to your head.
Estrada.
I put a gun to your.
How dare you? If this was the other way around, we would be saying this is on the verge of abusive behavior. You should never be in that close proximity in an argument with your hands flailing in somebody's face. Regardless of if you say, I was never going to hit them or anything like that, it should never get to a point where your hands are in somebody's face like that. You're standing over him, trying to almost as a form of intimidation, and then cutting him off as he's talking, and then putting your hands in his face. And at this point, the crew should have got involved straight away. It should have never got that far. Never. It should have. As soon as she got up and put her hands in the face, crew should have come in and pulled her away and said, "Listen, sit down, have a conversation, or don't have the conversation at all." It's just not right. Do you understand? If it was the other way around, we'd be saying something so heavy. And then obviously, she at the famous moment where she obviously says, "No, bitch," or whatever about the situation. I mean, listen, I take offense anyway to very strong language of that nature. I don't know how anyone else reacts, but obviously he took it to heart. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think again, it just kind of pinpointed for him that this was disrespectful. And I want to just make this, because I want to make this general and I want to make this specific in the sense of when we're dealing with relationships, people, listen, there are things you can say that you can take back. And when I say take back, it's in the sense of it's not offensive to hurt the person. And there are things that are said that are offensive and that can't be taken back. And that will stick with the person forever. And when you say certain things like that, they are, I call them block builders. Because it's going to get to a certain point, the person just wants to knock down the building that you've put up, which is of those words that you can't take back, that they're now saying sorry for. You know? So, yeah, I mean, the no bitch thing, probably shouldn't have said it. I'm sure they probably discussed about language like that, but saying that, you know, he can't get angry to a point where he's going to get stressed about the situation because you were swearing, saying F off, saying F you, Taylor. So we both are disrespectful in these kind of terms. So I don't want it to make it look like, oh, you can't say nothing and I can say it. Like, no, we don't like them things there. Let's have consistency, Brandon. Yeah? And obviously, in regards to the argument was about, obviously, this coming to DC and seeing friends, etc., etc. Apparently, he was meant to be at work. He didn't go to work. And it's like, bruv, what?
You already know the whole reason I'm out is because you said you were going to work. You did not go to work. You didn't go to work. You took your ass home and you didn't go to work.
Brother, you said you was meant to be at work. How come you weren't at work? See, and it's these kind of discrepancies that don't allow us to fully back you, Brandon. See, you may be telling the truth, but if your discrepancies are in there, now you look like a liar. You understand? I know you're telling the truth, but then like someone else might think, so he was lying about even going to work and stuff. How can they truly believe what you're saying about Taylor and the way you're trying to present her? Do you understand? And, you know, with the Taylor situation, it just looked like she wanted to win the battle. She wanted to just win the war. And, you know, at the point where she even left, she had to still keep talking at the door and almost slam the door.
The fact that you made other plans is the fact that you're mad. Have a night. You control your own time. Fix yourself. Don't fix me.
Because she couldn't get the rise out of him. She couldn't get the rise out of him. She couldn't get the response that she wanted out of him. You know, and for me, that is a manipulative woman. You know, and I detest such behaviors. And in relationships, these are the worst type of people to be in, because they will test you to the limit to you almost hit them, and then they're gonna cry. They're gonna cry they've been hit. Now, I don't agree that you should hit them at all. You know what I'm saying? But these people are the ones that will tempt you to that position. So it's like the devil working in the details. You know, it's the allure of temptation there. Do you feel me? Like, both of you need help. You understand? This is a toxic relationship, very much so. And it should have been ended at the point when they went to the nail salon. You know, because she was not happy, he was not happy. It should have been done.
What did you do? You're a piece of man. Yes, you are, honestly. I mean, she's just as big as piece of as you.
I think what was obviously a disappointment was that Brandon's behavior again towards the background staff. Yeah, one thing you have to know is that your decorum, yeah, is important. Your reputation is important. The way you speak to people is important. Why? Because life throws a lot of challenges, and you are not invincible. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when we get to where we get to, it's because of who we know. Now, this behavior that you're doing with the background staff, if you're angry with Taylor, be angry with Taylor. Don't displace the anger against the staff. Now, the gentleman that was talking to him was very, very calm, very polite, trying to make sure, listen, hey, bro, don't take off. It's not your thing to take off. Do you know what I mean? Let us come and do that. You signed a contract, say you're going to be filmed. You understand? And he's doing whatever he wants to do, you know, and, you know, behaving in a manner which is like a child. Do you understand? Throwing your toys at the pram. So now you're talking disrespectfully not only to the guy, and then he just says, you know, you're just about barely, you know, I don't know what he said something about that, but he basically cussed the woman that was next to him, and I was just like, is this the kind of behavior, Brandon, that we like? Do you know what I mean? Why are you behaving like this? This is not the first time. This is the second or third time we've seen this with production. So it's evident that you have a problem. You understand? It's evident you have a problem because the way you speak, you can have an issue, but the way the tonality and the words you use are very critical and important. Yeah?
Can you come here?
Don't touch me.
Please stop.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Please stop.
Don't touch me.
And then the scene which just blew my mind, I was confused as to why the production team allowed it. I'm going to be very honest. He said, listen, once he said, get off me. Yeah? Once. Then he said, get off me twice. Yeah, to Taylor. Yeah? Because Taylor wants to come and try and calm him down. Once he said it, obviously, get off me twice. Yeah? At that point, Taylor should have left him alone. If this was a woman, would be crying out, this could be a case on the cards. Right? There's personal space. He said, doesn't want you to touch him. Don't touch him. How hard is consent? Don't touch him. And she's still trying to touch him. He then proceeds to go into the bathroom. And she follows him into the bathroom and then shuts the door. At that point, it should be concerning.
Me, stop putting your hands on me. Like, get the off me. Do not touch me. Nope.
At that point, the production team should be on skates, rolling into that room straight away. Because once we heard shouting, saying, get off me in the bathroom, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if he hits her. You know what I'm saying? To the point where my man had to take a video to actually prove that, listen, just in case this girl tries to scream wolf, because anything could happen. She could accuse him of hitting her, and let's be honest, I said it again, because perception of what you've done in the past, we would potentially believe Taylor. Because why should she lie about being hit? Do you see what I'm saying? So it is a problem that they allowed this to happen. You know, he didn't want to speak to her. He didn't want to be in the same vicinity. For that moment, they should have let him go out of her vicinity. She should have had no more access to him. And then what I was going to say about the acting thing. He films her on the phone. And she's saying, obviously, I want to continue this because whatever reason. But she starts to smirk.
Guys, Brandon, I literally said that I'm going to be here. I'm going to be committed to in your marriage. So I'm trying to work this out. Like,
and that let me know straight away, this girl's an actor. This girl's acting for the cams. Whatever your contract is and they tell you to keep going or whatever, you're acting for the cams now. Do you get me? So, yeah, guys, listen, I'm going to leave it at that. Let us know your thoughts down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And let's have a discussion down below, because I thought this episode was crazy, man. Anybody doing this type of behavior from both of them, they don't need to be in a relationship. It's deadly. It's toxic. Alright, cool. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. More love.